So many Nemesises down, and only a couple more to go. We are almost finished. We are just about rounding out this entire month of Nemesis Primes with another third-party offering that is Magic Square's MS-02B Dark Lord. This is the 2.0 version of their version of like a masterpiece-ish Optimus Prime. I no longer have the original Nemesis Prime figure that they did. I did make a video on it, but I just don't have that figure anymore for a comparison. I will put up a photo when we get to the robot mode, but yeah, this is a completely different figure. Transformation's completely different, and yeah, I don't know. I know people had issues with this thing. I don't know if they just like fixed things with the Nemesis version or what, but this figure, for me at least, is fine. I did run into some problems though. You'll see it as we turn this around and look at different things, like this area here isn't quite lining up right, whereas on this side it's a little bit better. And like here you can kind of see that the wheels are like bowing in towards the back, and you can really see it here, how they're up at this weird angle, and like this bit's not sitting in like it's supposed to. There's got to be something I did wrong with all of this. I just don't know what that was. It's been a while since I transformed this thing, and this is like the first time I transformed it since then for this video. And the videos I was watching to try and remember how to do it didn't really help, because they were all truck to robot rather than robot to truck. So yeah, I basically just had to kind of do it by eye. And I did it, it just took a bit of doing. So we're just gonna get right into it so we can turn this guy into a robot and hopefully not stress this plastic more than it's already stressed out. And I gotta say, the cab is, aside from my stuff not lining up right, the cab looks good. It's surprisingly well done. It's not messy around the back like these kinds of things tend to be. Like, you've got an upside down robot butt flap, but I think that's fine. I don't think that's a deal breaker or anything like that. I'm supposed to... Nope, those do not fold in more. Okay. The back end is pretty clean. The feet actually fold up to make taillights in the back of the tractor, or tractor cab pretty well. I appreciate that. On the underside, you've got the obvious robot lower body, but that's the underside. And this probably looks familiar. This is very similar, but still different to how this kind of thing operates with some other Masterpiece-style Optimus Primes. And yeah, it looks good. It's Nemesis. It's supposed to be a Nemesis, so it's primarily black with some of this chrome color and some silver in a few places. I kind of like the silver on the inside of the wheel well. It makes me wish they had maybe done something similar to the back wheels, but that's fine. But I do think that's kind of nice. It makes that front tire stand out a bit, and just breaks up the color patterning a little bit more, which I think is good. And then around the sides and front, you know, you've got the doors with the translucent red windows, and the translucent red windows they're fine, but they're not like super great. I kind of wish they stood out a little bit more on the black. It looks okay on camera here, but in person, the tones are a little bit too similar for my taste. And also, I don't know how I feel about the headlights being chrome. I like the silver they did behind them, but like this chrome for the headlights is kind of Though I do like the teal that they use for the upper lights. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about this thing. It looks good. I do think it's cool how they copied this. I'm pretty sure copied this from MP44, in that these sections, when they open up, they actually rotate around. So this is the inside of the robot mode chest, and it basically, what it does, changes the shape of the windows so that they look a little bit more trucky in truck mode and a little bit more Optimus Prime chest in robot mode, which I think is cool. Oh, and one other thing you can do is you can open up the side doors like you could in the other Magic Square figure. There's nothing in there, it's just junk, but you can open them up. And unlike the first Magic Square one, these aren't on awkward struts, so they just open out like that. You don't have to like worry about them twisting in weird angles. I wish I knew what I had going on here that's wrong. I think it's got something to do with the hips, but I just kind of lost patience trying to get this to work. Accidentally flipped in the... There we go. Okay. So that is that with the truck cab. Let's just keep this going so I can get through that transformation and show off the robot mode. And get through is probably the wrong way to phrase it. I don't dislike the transformation. It's just I haven't really done it much. And I don't like the fact that the things aren't lining up right. I know I'm doing something wrong because when I first got this figure and transformed it, I didn't have that problem. So it's got to be something that I just didn't account for. But I also didn't feel like de-transforming the whole thing and trying to figure it out. So yeah. But there he is with the usual size comparisons, and he's a masterpiece scaled Optimus Prime, so he's big. He's about that size. And let's get all of you out of here. We can do our best size comparison ever, and then move on to the transformation. So yeah, there. What you all come here for. There is Dark Lord side by side with the duck tank. Okay, here we go. Now, I'm hoping I can pull this off on camera okay, because like I said, it's been a while. I will say this is way better than from what I've seen of MP44. To be honest, I have not actually transformed MP44, but I never want to, so there's that. First, going to hold in these side mirrors. They'll probably flop around as we go, but we're going to do that first, and then push down these smokestacks to shorten them up a little bit, and then fold these smokestacks in. Then we can do the legs. So we're going to pop this piece off from here. There's like a little tab up in here that it sits on top of, kind of hooks into. Actually get this unplugged. There we go. So there is the tab, and this little groove there slots over that. And want to do that on both sides. There we go. Now going to attempt to split the legs. Just plug in together here, and not a lot of area to grip onto, and it's kind of working its way out. But I'm just gonna bring in the spudger because I don't want to spend too much time on this. There we go. Okay. Now, since this leg's giving me trouble, we'll transform this one first. Going to unpeg this flat panel here from the back of the leg. There's this little tab here that tabs into this, so do that. I'm just going to leave this flap out for now. This piece, it's supposed to tab in here. There's like this little tab here, and there's like, or gap rather there, and there's also a gap there. I cannot for the life of me get these things to line up the way I think they're supposed to. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, because there are tabs on the inside of the wheel well here and here, there and up there. I just can't get them to line up. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm doing something wrong. But anyway, we're just going to fold all this out of the way so we can take care of the foot. I want to straighten this out, and this is not done yet, but we're going to deal with that in a second. So what we want to do is rotate this armature here around 180 degrees. That is on a very tight ratchet for some weird reason, but I'm going to rotate that around, and it's tricky to do when it gets to a certain point. But rotate it, and there we go. Get that all rotated around, and now the foot can kind of hinge up like this. And you also want to fold this little panel here out so that the foot is a bit more footish. And there we go. That should take care of that. Now, this can hinge out, and as far as I know, like this, it feels like this is supposed to pull out more, but it really, like, that's as far out as it goes. So I don't know, but I basically think you have to like flex this around. I'm not entirely sure if there's another way to go about doing this, but get those panels past each other, and it's not terrible. It's just a little, I don't like flexing stuff around like that, but do that. And now this piece here will push in. And oh, actually, before we push that in, I'm already missing steps. I want to fold this section in. It actually splits the gas can or gas canister. Split that in and then flip this in. Now we can push that in. And that foot is in the way. So push that in and now hinge this down so that the wheel ends up inside the leg. I'll keep that toe pointed down. This panel opens up in a few different places. Can pop this big one off. It actually pegs into this smaller one behind it. Boy, that is really in there. There we go. So that tabs in there, and then this folds out. And now this whole assembly can go up, and then tab in here. That pushes in. And then on the side here, that also will tab in. And that is... I screwed up. I'm sure people were calling me out on that. Yeah, you want to rotate the foot around so that it sits like that. And lastly, take the tiny gas canister and rotate that down into place. And there is one leg. This leg will hopefully go a little smoother. Gonna untap that, bring it up, hinge this section out just to get it out of the way. And then we'll try and rotate this. Well, first get this past this. It's not terrible, but still don't like doing it. We'll try to rotate the foot on that unnecessarily tight ratchet. Actually, that went a lot better. And bring this out, bring that out, and you don't need to rotate the foot around. I think, yeah, I screwed up when I was doing the transformation of the other leg, but as you can see, the foot's in the right orientation now. I just did that, twisted it around in a way that kind of messed up its orientation, but here you can see it's totally fine. So with that in place, now we can fold in this piece, and from this side you can see it shortens that gas canister thing, and fold that in here. Now bring this in, and that will collapse inward. Hinge this in like so. Now open these panels up like we did before. So, and like so. Hinge that up into place. Bring this door in and close it. Push that in and close this. And that will give us some very clean legs. And that. Rotate the little canister down. And yeah, it's really totally fine. I really don't understand what I was doing wrong with the orientation for the one side. It's got to be something I was missing. But here we have the legs all done, which is great. I need to raise the camera up because this guy is a masterpiece scaled figure, so he's rather tall. Now around here, I want to pull this entire cab section up and away. There's actually a spot where this piece tabs into the butt plate, so I want to kind of pull up. So just that a bit of a wiggle and pull up. There we go. And then these bits here slide into these grooves here. So pull that up. Keep all of that kind of out of the way for now. We can rotate the butt around and into place. And now the lower body of this particular Nemesis Prime is all done. The upper body is, it's not unmanageable, and it's not even really all that tricky. It's just, this is going to be a whole thing. So, I want to take this grill section, the grill and the front part of the bumper up to here, and pull all that forward. And this tabs in very securely, and also the sliding mechanism is very stiff on mine, so hopefully this goes well. Wiggle, pull, wiggle and pull, and it's coming. You can see it's sticking out now. There we go. That's just a little disconcerting to do with how stiff it is. Okay, with that out of the way, now this piece, and oh, actually no, we want to take this whole section back here and untab this. It tabs in here and here. So slide this back and out. There we go. Bring that up. This piece will fold out, and that'll close off that piece that's slotted into the butt skirt. We'll rotate this 180 degrees and fold out these little pieces here. And now we can take this piece and pull that up and out and around past the smokestacks. Be careful with the smokestacks, we can pull that out. This piece folds in, this piece folds up, and will tab in. These tabs will tab into the back of that hinge. And that will give us primes back, but that will just kind of sit back here for now. Okay, so this isn't so bad now that I've done it once recently and I'm more familiar with it, but it's just, there's a lot going on here. So the windows will fold out a bit. Not going to do much with them just yet. And now these pieces will, well, doors open, and we can start to bring out the arms. The hinge goes out a little bit. These panels will come out. It's on a little strut thing, kind of like the other version of this mold, or the 1.0, but this strut's a little bit different. See, there it is. It hinges back for truck mode and hinges forward for robot mode. Just want to hinge it to give yourself room. Rotate this out and kind of rotate this whole arm assembly out and get that off to the side. And while we're doing that, we'll straighten that out to get it as off to the side as possible. We'll deal with the arms probably last. Going to open the window again. Gonna get this moving a little bit. Hinge this. Unplug this and hinge it forward to get a little bit of wiggle room. Bring this out and around and up. There we go. And then straighten all that out. Okay. Now, with this piece here, you want to pull this piece, or come in from the underside and push this piece up like so, and can also kind of rotate this out of the way a little bit. There we go. Now these panels will rotate 180 degrees, and these will fold in later. We're not going to do it just yet, but these will fold in later. So there you can see there's truck orientation, there's robot orientation. It does change things up quite a bit. So rotate, and just keep that open. I'm gonna fold this. Actually, while we're here, we'll rotate this assembly around and rotate this piece, just the bumper section around. This will do the MP10 thing, but we're going to keep it out like this for the time being, just so that we have room to operate down here. So the windows for the side doors, keep the mirrors in. Those fold down and then fold in. Okay, rotate it like this to get room, and then fold that in. There we go. And then this rotates around and goes up into the body, but there's actually a dual hinge here. Like, this actually kind of, it's hard to explain, but basically it sits, like you can see there's this gap here. You can actually hinge that more up and into place in order to get everything to line up, but it's kind of tricky to do. Now it's making me look silly. Like, okay, here you can see what I'm talking about. There's this piece down here, and it's not down here. So you want to bring it... Oh, that's what it is. It slides down. That's probably what was off in my truck mode. Anyway, bring that up, and we'll pull the... I'm sorry, this is such a mess. I'm going to pull up the head, and that comes up on this little platform as well. But pull that up. Now rotate this up and into place and slide this up and set it like so. So the wheels do the MP10 thing and sit in the midsection. Same thing on this side. Going to rotate this piece around, fold in that section of the door, fold that up, rotate this whole thing around, fold it in, and then get that out of the way. Fold it in and then slide this mechanism up. Yeah, that 100% is what I must have missed. And now this, I want to bring this out a little bit because it's got to go. I'm sorry, that wasn't on camera. This piece here you want to bring out a little bit because it has to go over this hinge here. So you can tuck that in like that, and this all comes up and pushes over the back of the figure, and will kind of go over, slot over these tabs here. And that will hold all that together. This assembly can now push in all the way. These doors can now fold in, and you can see there's these like overlapping tabs here. So I want to kind of get them both in together, and that will keep that from moving around. This big armature can now hinge down, as you do. There we go. I'm just adjusting this so that it's squared off. It was sitting kind of down, but that's squared off. Okay, almost there. For the arms, going to flip out the hand like so. This piece here will fold into that panel, and now this whole panel will fold in over the arm. And then this piece will fold in and peg in there. And now if we orient this, you can see there's a bend there. You can rotate that so that you get that bend, and then spin this section to get that bend, and that'll give us a really nice double elbow option. If you want, you can leave this turned like this, so that way you just get a single elbow that still bends really far. I'm not entirely sure which is the correct option, but that's what, yeah. That's how I had this guy situated when I took him off the shelf to transform him for this video. So for the time being, at least, I'm going to do the transformation hinge facing in. But there we have that. And now this arm, same deal. I'm going to show from this side. This panel here folds in and just kind of goes over that tab there. This, I want to flip out that fist first. The hand rotates out. And now this whole assembly hinges in like so. And then this panel folds down and tabs in right there. And we can bring this in like it was. I believe, yeah, okay, that's still oriented like that. So we can just rotate this around to bring that proper arrow piece forward and straighten out the hands. And lastly, for the head, I'm going to fold up the little Optimus Prime antennas. And there we go. That was not as bad as I was afraid it was going to be. There we have Magic Square's Dark Lord in robot mode, and this is a good-looking Nemesis / Optimus Prime. I like this guy quite a bit. I actually prefer this to the 1.0, which I feel like that kind of stands to reason because I don't have the 1.0 anymore. But it's a combination of the improved articulation with this guy, and I just like the look better. It's a little bit cleaner. All the way around, you kind of see, like, there's zero kibble on this guy, really. Like, there's some kind of unsightliness going on in the back here, and you can see the truck lights over his shoulders, but, like, I don't think that's a big deal. So, yeah, it's very clean. It accomplishes so much, and the transformation really isn't bad. It's just, I just was doing it wrong somehow. And also, I've got something going on with this particular hip that's just not quite lined up right. This is the transformation, the articulation on this guy is really good, but it's also a little bit finicky, I've noticed. So, something to keep in mind, I guess. Yeah, it's a really good looking Nemesis Prime. I don't want to disappoint anyone, but I don't really have all of the accessories out to show. I've just got the little blaster, so we'll be looking at that later. But this looks great. The color breakup is really nice. I like that even though you get the solid black arms, they do have both the smokestacks on the shoulders and the turquoise in the forearms that really help to break that up. And the legs, you of course have the silver on the toes, or gunmetal on the toes, gunmetal for the shins, the little chrome mini gas cans, which are fake parts, but given everything this thing does, I understand why. Silver thighs, silver waist, the pelvis, all that. I also really like what they did with the grill. That is something I thought was really cool, how it does a very similar thing to the original MP10, but I like how it reshapes the grill, because a portion of this grill actually ends up flipped around for the matrix chamber, so that uses the original truck grill, but it also reshapes it slightly. So now it's more in line with the robot mode, which I just think is great. It's a really nice attention to detail, I guess. And yeah, it's really cool. There's something weird I noticed when I was transforming this guy, which is the the thigh piece actually slid off the thigh here, which is very similar to the thigh piece for, like, it's not the same, but like the mechanism of this sliding out is very similar to Magic Square's Menasor, which is just kind of strange. But yeah, there is that. It's a really nice figure. It is lighter than some people might want. I'm not bothered by it. It's still got some good heft to it. There's no die cast that I can feel on this thing, but I don't think there needs to be. And I don't know, like it doesn't, the weight doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't feel fragile or anything like that. It's a little bit disconcerting having to force these like panels past the side bits trying to transform the legs, but that could be me doing something wrong. I probably should have done a bit more thorough work before doing this video, but I really want to finish recording for NemeSeptember because I've been doing this forever. Yeah, it's a really cool figure. I like the proportions here. I do wish I still had the 1.0 version to show, but I do not. But what I can do is pop up a side-by-side. So move this guy off to the side here, and then I don't know if I'm going to pop up a photo of the video of the 1.0 to use that as a comparison, or if I'm going to use the photo of the two of them side-by-side that I took a while back. But whatever it is, here it is on the screen, so you can see how this guy compares to the other one. And I do think both stylistically and proportionally, I like the 2.0 better, but there were aspects to the 1.0 that I liked more. I liked the optional damaged parts. I really liked having those damaged windows for the 1.0, but due to how the 2.0 transforms, I understand why that wouldn't really work. Also, the head on this guy isn't as strong as the head on the 1.0, but this is fine. Like I've come around to it. It doesn't really bother me. I kind of feel like one day I'm going to try to open it up and see if I can adjust it to how I like it myself, but we'll see. And I guess while we're talking about it, we should actually take a look at that head. So I've gone with the more traditional Prime head for this particular guy. There is a more show accurate one that's got like the brim of the hat and looks a little bit narrower and stuff. I don't really like that head sculpt. It looks too squarish for me. I prefer this look for Optimus and Nemesis, so that's why I went with this one. But they're easy to swap. It's just a ball joint. You just pop the head off, pop the other one on. The problem with this one that a lot of people have pointed out that I'm inclined to agree with is the fact that the eyes look a little small and you see just a little bit too much silver in the space around them. I feel like those could have benefited from being either bigger or having less empty space in the face around them. But aside from that, it's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with this head really, and I still prefer it over the other option. And it is, you know, black plastic with the silver for the face and the faceplate, and red for the eyes, silver for the crest. It looks good. It is nicely sculpted. It's very kind of typical Optimus Prime. For me anyway, and I like that. And also, while we're here, real quick, let's take a closer look at this matrix. So to open these up, and unfortunately in opening these up, you get the upside down truck windows with the windshield wipers, which is the downside to this kind of design, but this is what they went with. And now this will fold out, and there you can see the matrix. It does come out, but I'm not going to remove it because I just do not care. But there is that. Actually, yeah, okay, that's what I was doing wrong. This was flattened out. If you angle this out a little bit and push this piece in so it's more angled, that cuts back on the wiggle. So there's that. But anyway, yeah, there's the matrix, and it looks cool, but I'm not taking it out. I like, though, that they've got this really nice detail in here. These little turquoisey bits on the side are actually molded into the section around the grill, so like once you pull this whole thing out, those pieces are still in there. Some nice molding, and I even like the little red and turquoise on the cover for the matrix. It looks good. It's just, you know, I'm still not big on matrix gimmicks for primes, but it's a masterpiece-ish. I know why you got to do that. So anyway, articulation-wise, the head is on a ball joint, as I said, so you get some left and right tilts, some up and down, some pretty decent up and down, actually, and then, of course, left and right turn. That is squeaky. I need to hit that with some, I'm going to loosen it up. The shoulders are really nice. They can go all the way around. They can go up and down at this joint that's built into the shoulder, and they can go up quite a ways. But then there's also this ratcheted joint here, so you can go up like that too. So you can actually go really high up with the shoulders. You get a butterfly motion here, but then there's also this piece in here that can swing around. So in addition to just the general butterfly, you can actually bring the arm out quite a bit on that other hinge, and that can do other stuff. So lots of articulation there. You get a bicep rotation if you rotate it so that this transformation joint is facing forward. You can use that to in place of the elbow, but you also get the regular elbow, which can go up quite a ways, so you can get a really, really deep elbow bend if you want to do that. If we rotate this back and use just the single elbow, as we saw earlier, that still gets you a lot of bend. So really nice articulation there. You've got forearm rotation right above the lower elbow joint, and that rotation does not do you any good with this joint. And then the hands are also kind of ridiculous. You've got rotation, you've got outward motion, so there's that as well. You've got a ball joint at the base of the thumb and then a joint up there, so the thumb can like turn and move like that. And then all of the individual fingers are hinged in two places, so you've got a fair bit. Wait, is that hinged or ball jointed? No, I think it's hinged. Okay. But yeah, you've got a lot of really nice articulation in those hands. This just seems so excessive, but I'm here for it. Actually, I think those are... Yeah, no, I was wrong. These base joints are little ball joints, so you can rotate the fingers if you want to do that too. And they can also splay ever so slightly, but they can splay. So yeah, really nice arm and hand articulation. The waist does do a full rotation, and because of this enormous armature here, you can do ab crunch forward and back. You can go back absurdly far, you can go forward absurdly far. It looks a little weird, but you can do it. You've got rear and side skirts so that the legs can go back that far and can go out that far. And going forward is interesting because there's actually a couple of hinges in here. So like there is this rotation right in here. That's what was moving when you go back. But when you go forward to a point, it stops moving at that joint and moves an entirely different joint that brings that front skirt up with it. So you can see there's this secondary rotation right there that the skirt's attached to. So that gives you pretty much 90 degrees forward. So really nice rotation. It's just these hip joints, the rotation is a little bit finicky because of like the multiple hinges. So it's that, I think, is a contributing factor to the problem I was having with the transformation. Not the problem, but a contributing factor. And the knee is ridiculous. It's a double jointed knee, so you've got pretty much, no, I'm pretty sure it's more than that. Yeah, you can bend all the way up. So you've got that upper joint and lower joint. You've got thigh rotation, which is virtually, like you can go practically 90 before this bumps into the, like the skirt section back here bumps into that joint. And the feet, you can go forward and back a little bit on that ball joint. You can use the ratchet joint, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's very difficult to move. And you get some ridiculous in and out tilts. The inward tilt does have its limitations because of the fact that this is like on a strut that's on a ball joint. But for the sake of like aesthetics, at least, it works just fine. So yeah, posability on this guy is really nice, and he looks really good. And honestly, the problems that I had with the transformation, that's just a me thing. I really need to just mess with this guy more because I just messed with him like the one time, the first day I got him, and that was pretty much it. So that's on me. Now, as established, I do have his gun, and it's nice. It's a Optimus Prime looking ion blaster thing. It's just solid black, not painted or anything. That's fine. There are tabs on either side of the handle that can go into the little slots on the inside of either palm. I'm just going to bend the fingers so they don't get caught up on this thing. That will tab into the hand. It tabs in really securely too. Like that's not coming out easily. So wrap the fingers around that, wrap the thumb around that, and I completely missed the fact that due to the transformation, you get a little bit of a downward tilt on the hand too. So you can do this, and you can do this. But there he is with the blaster, and he's cool. I like him. I just wish that I could have found a way to make the damaged windows work with this guy. The head is even a thing that I'm just like, it's fine, I'm over it. But just those windows. Anyway, there we've got Dark Lord. Go away, glare. Oops, sorry. There we go. Okay. So there we've got Dark Lord in his very cool looking glory. I don't know. I'm all over the place. There we've got Heartfire and Rotor Storm and Ova Prime and Samus and of course Burnout. So yeah, the Optimus, the masterpiece sized third-party Optimus Prime is, lo and behold, masterpiece Optimus Prime size. All right, let's get all of you out of here. And you. And, oh, you're not off camera. There you go. And last size comparison for this fellow, here is Dark Lord with the duck tank. And that does it for Magic Square's Dark Lord, their 2.0 take on Nemesis Prime. And I've said this many times, but I do actually really like this figure. It's, you know, there are certain aspects to it that I'm kind of like, I wish that was a little bit different, but it's a cool figure. It does not have the questionable quality control or build quality issues that I've seen people talk about with the original release of the figure, the original Optimus Prime version. So I think they must have hammered out the dents for the Nemesis Prime. Also, I've heard one of the folks who spends a lot of time on the Discord and is also a patron, Ridiculous Badger, he has commented that he got the premium version of this guy that comes with like a metallic finish. And that version, according to Badger, is really nice. Like, it feels premium, it feels better quality, it looks really good because it's all shiny and stuff. So, something to think about. But I feel like if you're looking for a masterpiece style Optimus Prime or Nemesis Prime, and you want one that's like really nicely articulated and does not require an absurd transformation like MP44, and also doesn't have exploding knees like MP44, I don't think you can go wrong with this. It's just the legs are a little bit like, there's something I'm missing, but like as a Optimus Prime toy, this is really cool. But that is going to do it for Dark Lord. What are your thoughts on this guy? Or the 1.0 version? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you everybody for watching. And for our final Nemesis Prime, our final NemeSeptember subject, we're going to be returning to the third-party well one more time with a not exactly third-party figure. It is a, let's say, unofficial reproduction of a third-party figure in Nemesis Prime colors because it's something I always wanted to get and missed the boat on the original release. But yes, next time around we are going to be looking at this incredibly beefy thing.